Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Engine number one, a small hedge fund that successfully got 2 of its 4 nominees elected to ExxonMobil's board of directors this week, has indicated that it will be pressing management of the oil giant to shift its output strategy. Engine number one had its challenge with attaining board seats. This was rooted in its dissatisfaction with ExxonMobil's emissions output. Now, Charlie Penner, the leader of the campaign against ExxonMobil, said that the company will need to cut fossil fuel production. He went on to say that engine number one will give Exxon time to develop a new strategy, but cautioned that one ought to be cognizant that the energy transition is happening faster than expected, thereby undermining Exxon's assumptions about long-term demand for its oil. At the end of the day, engine number one said ExxonMobil going forward must plan for a world that does not need its barrels. And coming from BBC, oil and gas giant Total SA will be rebranded as Total Energies as it shifts some of its focus towards renewable energy sources. This move comes on the heels of shareholders voting overwhelmingly in favor of the move and approving the firm's environmental goals. Total, the world's 4th largest privately owned oil and gas producer, is aiming to reach carbon neutrality by 2050, in part by investing in more solar and wind power projects. It should be noted that big energy firms are coming under increasing pressure to adjust to a lower carbon world. And moving on. Despite being a hilly area, several communities in Region 10 were hit by severe flooding yesterday. Some areas were under more than 10 feet of water. In fact, the Kwakwani Neighborhood Democratic Council was yesterday afternoon preparing to evacuate residents whose homes were completely flooded and inaccessible. In the Kwakwani waterfront, Lamp Island areas, the water was as high as 12 feet. Vehicles and one-story homes were completely covered as well. The area up to press time was also completely inaccessible by road. The situation is also deemed to be one of major concern for the health of residents since waste from pit latrines have escaped into the water, thereby increasing the risk of waterborne diseases. The residents and Region 10 officials have since described this year's flooding as one of the worst experienced in recent years. And moving on, a carpenter who allegedly robbed a woman of $800 last May 13th at Alboystown, Georgetown yesterday appeared in court and was placed on $100,000 bail for the offense. According to information on the day of the robbery, the defendant, Keon Simon, was in the company of another and armed with a gun when he allegedly robbed Ronisha Tapin of $800. It is further alleged that moments after, he also robbed Leon Small of a motorcycle, a Honda XR valued at $445,000, one silver chain valued $35,000, and one LG cell phone valued $100,000. Simon was placed on $100,000 bail for that offense, as well as a condition that he reports to the Rhineville Police Station every Monday. Both matters were adjourned. Meanwhile, 40-year-old Ronald Omar Smith, a Trans-Guyana Airways employee, last evening succumbed while receiving medical attention after he was robbed and shot on a Cam Street in Georgetown, moments after conducting business around the city. According to information, after Smith made a sale of some amount of gold, he placed $437,000 cash in his haversack. Around 16 hours 25 on the western half of Cam Street between Church and Quamina Streets, Smith and his girlfriend were standing in front of the Impeccable Beauty Salon and Spa when 2 identifiable males rode up on a white XR motorcycle. The pillion rider got off and discharged 2 rounds at Smith. He collapsed and the pillion rider proceeded to remove the victim's haversack, which contained the cash. The suspects then escaped north on Cam Street. The police have since arrested the driver who transported Smith around the city to conduct business moments before he was attacked and killed, as a manhunt was launched to locate the 2 suspects. In other news, Norma Rose, a 41-year-old female security guard attached to GRA in Springlands, is now dead following an accident on the number 77 public road, Quarantine, Berbice. Reports are that the accident occurred on Independence Day at approximately 21 hours 30 and involved a motor vehicle that was driven by 32-year-old Danny Nanku. Nanku was proceeding at a fast rate when the left side of his car collided with Rose, who was standing on the eastern side of the road. This resulted in her being flung on top of the left side bonnet, then onto the parapet. Nanku fled the scene but was later arrested. And to wrap things up this evening, let's tell you that the Ministry of Health yesterday announced that 4 persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died. Their deaths now move Guyana's COVID-19 death toll to 380. Those who died are a 74-year-old woman from Essequibo Islands, West Demerara, a 31-year-old woman and a 39-year-old man, both from Demerara, Mahaika, and a 68-year-old man from Upper Demerara, Berbice rather. 17 new COVID-19 cases were recorded, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 16,724. 24 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU, 103 persons are in institutional isolation, 1,841 in home isolation, and 9 persons are quarantined institutionally. To date, 14,376 recoveries have been made. And with that, we've come to the end of this evening's newscast. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Do have a wonderful, enjoyable, and safe Saturday night.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Citizens of Guyana,